Hi, I'm Allie. Join me as I create this sand and sea turtle bracelet. If you need any supplies, go ahead and check out below the video, and we'll put links there to everything online. Gather up your materials on your bead on it board, and let's get started. To begin our turtle here, we are going to begin with some SuperDuos, some 3mm pearls, and 2 colors of 11s. We'll add crystals and our clasp after. Working with a size 10 needle and some green dragon thread, we're going to do a little bit of a right angle weave. You can also do this project with 2 needles, but we took a vote during our live stream and everybody decided on 1 needle for this. So I'm going through here and putting on my thread and needles a series of pearl, 2 11-0s in color A, which is going to be my champagne, 1 B, which is the green, a SuperDuo, and then B and 2 of my A's. Going back through the pearl now, we're going to go from the opposite direction and create almost like a right angle weave unit. Sewing through my pearl, bringing my thread around so it comes out the other side. I'm going to sew up through the right hand side of this little box, going through that SuperDuo as well after the seed beads, and then exiting through the 11-0 after the SuperDuo. The green beads we're going to keep close to our turtle's body, and the gold ones are going to be a little bit further away. From here, we're going to start to kind of round out and again do a little version of right angle weave. We're going to pick up another SuperDuo, 2 more 11s, and then add our second row of our SuperDuos here before coming back and repeating on the opposite side. So we're next to our turtle, so we're going to add another one of our green beads, followed by our SuperDuo, followed by now our green beads again, 1 and 2. Add another SuperDuo, sew through the top hole of the SuperDuo that's already on there. Coming out the opposite side, we're going to do the exact same thing. So you're going to add another SuperDuo, another 2 11s, 1 more SuperDuo, and 1 more 11. Pick up the 11 before the SuperDuo here, that green color, sew through that, and have your thread exit after those green seed beads on the opposite side. That's going to get us the next little portion of our turtle's body. From here, we're going to go in and we're going to not worry about the second hole of the SuperDuos that we're adding to the side, the little leg pieces here. We'll connect that second hole as we do our 2 outer runs. Instead, what we're going to do is progress forward, adding in some seed beads, and our SuperDuo that sits on the top. So you want to get in towards the interior here, going through the SuperDuo on the left-hand side, that left bottom leg here. Go through that same hole, go through your seed beads, retracing the thread. We're going through our SuperDuos, through that same bottom hole. We haven't added any extra beads and we're not using any extra holes yet. And we're going to exit through that first seed bead after the SuperDuo on the left. So see how we're exiting right there? Go ahead and pick up 1 and 2 more 11-0s. Go through the top hole of that SuperDuo. Add another SuperDuo and come out through the other side of the body on the left-hand side, going through that second hole. See how that turtle's kind of starting to take shape? Add 1 and 2 more 11-0s. Grab onto the 11-0 that's already there on the bottom. And we're just once again retracing our steps in order to progress our needle. Going through here, you can see I've gotten halfway through. Going to come out through the body here. Wiggling my needle out through the seed beads. And out to the other side. We've got our bottom half of our turtle ready to go, and now we're going to add in the top half of our turtle. Closer look here. Once you sew through and add that, you're going to want your thread and needle exiting out the first seed bead that sits towards the top of our body here that we're doing right after that middle shell SuperDuo. You're exiting through that seed bead. You're going to pick up another seed bead and another SuperDuo, 2 more 11s to complete our body, and go through the top of our turtle here, through that top hole of that SuperDuo bead. Same thing on the other side, and that gets our turtle body laying right. 2 11-Os, 1 SuperDuo, 1 more 11-Os, and then through the 11 SuperDuo, SuperDuo. Sometimes you have to do them one at a time. Sometimes you can get more than one of those holes lined up. Next 2 SuperDuos. You can see my needle and thread. This is why I brought it in close. Out through here and back up so that we're exiting through our 11-O on the opposite side of our turtle head. Here's our turtle body here. We want to get to coming out our 11-O. Then we're switching up to our sand color. 2 of our sand color goes on, 1 of our pearls, 2 of our sand color, back through the 11 on the opposite side of the SuperDuo, all the way over, connecting like this right angle weave here. From here, when you bring your needle out, you will have your first little tortoise, or your sea turtle, completed. So see our little turtle there? He's swimming inside. He's super cute. We're going to go in and get to the outside of the pearl and start the steps all over again. So my thread's coming out here. I'm going to go up through those first 2 champagne seed beads, out through the pearl, and now we're back to step number 1. 2 11s in one color, 1 11, add my next turtle, 11, 2 champagnes. Back through that same pearl, and my turtle body is starting to get formed again. Flipping it in my hand just to make it a little bit easier to sew. Up through your 3 11s on the side, through your SuperDuo, and out through the 11. From here, time to build our turtle. Grab 1 11 followed by 1 SuperDuo, followed by 2 11s and a SuperDuo. Sew through that top hole of the SuperDuo that's already there. Add another SuperDuo in place, and then repeat 2 11s, 1 SuperDuo, 1 more 11, and back through that 11 and all the way over to progress and finish. Once you have that portion of the body, again, go up through the SuperDuos, along the side here, through the 11-Os, all the way over to this right-hand side SuperDuo, watching my thread path, coming out through the 11-O seed bead after that SuperDuo. From here, we're going to step up, adding 2 11-O seed beads through the top hole of that same SuperDuo that your thread is coming out of. I know this one is faster, but you can always slow it down. Add 1 more SuperDuo on, coming out then, 1 and 2 11-Os. Pick up the 1 11-O prior to that SuperDuo on the left and sew through that bottom hole. You need your thread to snake the whole way through, so you're coming out along the side here and ready to add those front legs onto the design. Thread comes all the way over here. You're going to go through these 3 seed beads that sit on the exterior of the SuperDuo, all the way over through these 3 SuperDuos here, all the way over through the left-hand side of the body SuperDuo and out through the 11-O. Once we're out through the 11-O, we get to add our next turtle leg. 11, SuperDuo, 11, 11, through the SuperDuo that's already there. Once again, adding our next little turtle leg, 2 11s, SuperDuo, 1 11, through the 11 before the SuperDuo. That's the middle of the body, or the middle of the shell there. All right, progressing up, we want to come out through the 11-0 after that SuperDuo, just taking your thread in this right angle weave pattern. I know some of you have looked and said, this isn't right angle weave. It is. If you pay attention, we're just circling up and adding kind of different, it's almost like a free-form right angle weave. Coming over here through these SuperDuos, getting to the opposite side, coming out through the 11 here, and then it's time to add our pearls and our sand. Keep continuing to make your little turtle bodies and have him get ready to swim in our sand and crystal fun. Once you get the length that you need, which is going to be 8 or 9 of your little turtles here, you're going to want to add your button clasp. I have on here 2 11-0s of my gold following that same pattern, then 1 of my green, followed by my cup button up through the back, adding a SuperDuo to the top, green, gold, green, down through the SuperDuo, down through the button. From here, same thing. We're going to do our green, then our 2 champagne, and then we're going to go ahead and get ready to go through that pearl. We'll get a chance to reinforce this as we go further down the line. And I'm going to get ready to come to the outer edge here and start to do the rest of our sand that's going to be right around our turtle. Coming out the pearl now, it's time to do our outer edges here and make our turtles look like they're swimming in their sand. We're going to be coming out the pearl. I want you to add 3 11-0s and sew through one of the first right-hand legs of that SuperDuo. Go ahead and add a pearl, followed by 2 11-0 seed beads. Sew through that middle bead there. That actually is arching over that SuperDuo on the center of the turtle's body. Mimic the same thing now. 2 11s, then our pearl, then go back up through the next SuperDuo on the right-hand side. From here, we're going to catch on to that middle pearl as we progress. And I want you to go ahead and add 1, 2, and 3 of your 11-0s and through our pearl. And that's going to get the right side of our turtle complete. From here, we're going to go down and switch now to the left side and do the exact same thing. So you're doing 1, 2, 3 of your 11-0s through the SuperDuo on the left-hand side. Then you're going to add in your pearl, which is going to sit always right in the interior of the SuperDuo. 2 11s, catch on to that middle bead there, and then do the same pattern again, but going opposite. 2 11s, and then your pearl, and then into that other side of the SuperDuo. That sits right along the side there. From here, add 1, 2, 3 11s and sew through that center pearl. You're going to come down the sides then, going the opposite direction through the pearls before we come back the opposite way and add in our beads along the other side too. When you're coming back down the project and adding on the opposite side, I'm going to show you as you get to the end and you reverse how to get this to lay nicely. When you're coming out of the end and you do the reversal here, going in and adding your 3 seed beads, going up to your SuperDuo, you can add the clasp here too if you want, or just skip over. You put your pearl in, your 2 11-0s through that section there, 2 11-0s, your pearl through your SuperDuo like you've been doing. And then instead of adding 3 11-0s, we're going to share one of the 11-0s that's already there closest to the pearl. So like I'm coming out here doing the last one, instead of adding 3 11s, you're just adding 2. You're going to grab the 1 11 that's already there before the pearls and exit through the 1 11 that's there after the pearls. That way your space is not competing at all. Add your 2 11s into your SuperDuo, and then continue on with your pattern, picking up your pearl, your 2 11s, going through that center 11-0 seed bead, and finishing. So see how you're adding 3 initially as you snake down, and as we go back through then just 2, because we're linking on to the center 2 closest to the pearl that you've already added as you've gone down the bracelet. Coming back up then, we're going to finish off here before we do our next trip down, adding in once again 1, 2, and 3 11-0s through our pearl there. And this is going to be an opportunity, if you want to go back and reinforce your clasp, or don't worry about it because we still have one more time down. From here, we're going to come to the outer edge, going through the 11-0s, through the SuperDuo, and out our pearl to get ready to add our final step to the exterior of all our little turtles. Coming out that outer edge then, and that pearl, you're going to add 2 11s, one of your crystals, 2 11s, and through the pearl. Then between the pearls, we're adding 1 11, 1 crystal, 1 11. So again, coming out that first pearl here, we've added 1 2 11s, one of our crystals, 2 11s, through the next pearl in line. If you want to keep a little bit more of that sand color, you could also use a pretty Colorado color crystal. That would look great as well. Then here in between, 1 11, 1 crystal, 1 11, and through the next pearl. And you can see how that just lines up really nicely along the side as you go in and create that outer edge. Again, 1 2 11s, 1 crystal, 2 11s. We're going to do this the whole way down that pattern of the 2 11s versus next to the crystal, and then the 1 11 next to the crystal. Once we reach the end, we'll do our loop and we'll come back down the other side to finish off our piece. Once you get to the end of the design, we're going to add in our loop for our clasp. We're going to go through our pearl here. And once you're through your pearl, go ahead and exit. And you're going to pick up a series of seed beads. So I'm going to pick up 1 2 seed beads, and then I'm going to pick up a 3rd seed bead, and then I'm going to start counting to 32. If you want to, you can do this green, you can do it gold, completely up to you. I usually use it as an opportunity to clean up my mat here. So I have my 3 beads on. Think of it as a group of 2 and then 1. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to add 32 beads to our string here. And once we have those on, we're going to make sure that it fits your clasp. If you are using a regular type of clasp that has a loop or anything, you can go ahead and use a wire guard or a wire protector here and link onto that. That is a great addition. From here then, we're going to reinforce our loop as well. Coming back down through our 11-0 seed bead, that was our single bead. Gonna make our loop, add 2 more 11s, and go back through our pearl once again from the opposite side. So the thread was coming out the right-hand side, or left-hand side of the pearl, excuse me, and we're gonna sew into the right-hand side of the pearl, taking the thread and needle to the opposite side. From here, go ahead and reinforce, going back through that loop completely, back through the pearl, and then we'll get ready to decorate the opposite side. Because we're on this side and we're already ready to go ahead also and tie off that thread as you come back out of this pearl, so that way we just have the 1 thread remaining. Once you finish going down the opposite side, you can see how pretty those turtles look as they're dancing in the sand there. And it just has a really nice feel on the wrist too. It's nice and stable and a little bit heavier in feeling. Go ahead and run your thread and needle then through your clasp one more time. You can even skip right up to the clasp, going through yet again through the cut button, the SuperDuo, up through the seed beads, down through the opposite side, down through here. That gets your third time in if you've reinforced, the same as me. And then we're simply going to knot off our thread end. So to do so, I'm going underneath a bead, which has thread basically from one bead to the other. I made a loop and I'm sewing through the loop once. And I'm going to sew through that loop one more time. It basically twists the thread around, and it's going to do what's called a sewer's knot, bringing that thread down right between two beads here, so you can't even see it. Sewing down a little bit further into the project. Green thread next to the green beads. This is my opportunity to go ahead, burn off that extra thread end, and burn it down flush next to the project to finish up your sand and sea turtle bracelet. Thanks so much for joining me in the fun of this sand and sea turtle bracelet. You can change up the colors and it's going to look like flowers, but I love the greens and we came up with that name during our live stream. So if you ever want to watch live and learn some more and help contribute to ideas, you can join us live streaming on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Check out our website for more details. As always, if you haven't yet subscribed so you don't miss anything from us here at Potomac Beads. Thanks so much for joining in, and stay tuned for more inspirational designs.